Some stuff is likely to reach a point of no return. As things change, others may remain the same as TNA reaches a turning point. Welcome to the discussion. Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to another simple edition of City Predicting. It is simple and reliable, excuse me, because simply reliable, of course, is Walter Cruz, but I'm simple, he's reliable, I'm the Cemento of Flaws, he's the Renegade Wrestling JJ Williams, and we're bringing you simple predictions ahead of our coverage tonight for TNA Turning Point. For those that are tuning in, whether live or on demand, thank you so much. Please subscribe, comment, tell friends, support my friends. It is your passion that allows us to continue doing what we do in and out of all things professional wrestling, combat sports, collegiate sports, big time shows, pay-per-views, TV specials too. And if you want to dictate the conversation, there are PayPal links in the description. Donate to dictate, super chat, as simple as that. And of course, prediction form is all over my social media, no DQ social media, and it will be, of course, in the comment section once this stream concludes as well. That being said, before we get into stuff, JJ, good to see you. And also to him and everybody, I hope that you all had a wonderful Thursday. And if you celebrated it, happy post-Thanksgiving and safety and Black Friday shopping. JJ, good to see you. How you feeling about Turning Point tonight and what's going to start up a loaded weekend for us?
Honestly, I don't feel too good because I haven't been keeping up with the product, so I've got no idea where these storylines and angles may go and culminate, but TNA seems to be the league that I'm doing the best in, so maybe that's going to be for the best. Who knows? You know, there's some crazy stuff going to be on the card here tonight. We got 3 championship matches. The X Division Knockout and World Championship will be on the line. We've got 6-man tag action. That's easy to say this early in the morning.
Yeah, right.
And we've got the return of the Turkey Bowl match. You know, and so much more. No disqualifications. We've got knockouts action on the pre-show, the countdown. Good to see Pop in the chat room. But yeah,
Hey.
My Thanksgiving was great. Speaking of Pop, me and Natalie got to have a little video FaceTime call with him and then a separate one with my mom and stepdad.
Nice.
Able to connect and see family through this high-tech world that we live in.
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting show. And this weekend, like, it's a 3-day weekend. You know, Friday, most people are off today, or a lot of people are off today because, you know, why go back to work for one day after a holiday?
Well, you've worked in a
The
hospital.
essential, I was going to say, the essential employees, your grocery stores, your hospitals, like those
That's my
people
sister.
are in, but your office folk more than likely have the day off today.
Yep.
So it's a 3-day weekend, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 watch-alongs because we got a double feature tomorrow, plus our karaoke.
Yes.
A
Yep.
trifecta of action tomorrow.
Yeah.
I just hope that by the time we get to karaoke, we still have voices.
Well, I guess
I see that look on your face, Noah. You're hoping that you can call the hell out of that WrestleCade Super Show so that you have no voice. I know you, sir.
I'm just deceitful man and
Ah,
lifelong.
that. You're a finagler. You're always trying to get out of karaoke, sitting there with your Switch, with your lights dimmed, like you're representing the House of Black, and it always comes back and bites you in the ass, doesn't it?
They are in Emmanuel over here probably Black Friday shopping as we speak. I know I'm perfectly safe. And besides, after we're done calling
they
this,
will make
that's a
sure
quick
to
super
save
show.
some money for
No, they
you.
won't. No, they
Yes,
won't.
they will. Yes,
No, they
they
won't.
will.
No, they
But
won't.
that's not why we're here.
No, as we said, we are here to discuss TNA. Here's the updated league. That is not a freaking coincidence. My score is 69. Damn it. But Joshy's right behind me. Jerry's doing very well. And Jerry, yeah, you're doing fairly well, man. You're in the top 10 with 59, right there with Dwayne Atkinson. And Ashley's very close. And again, this is the second to last event of the TNA League. As of course, this all will culminate in Final Resolution. We'll talk about the conclusion of the leagues and the city predictions for the year after this video gets towards its end too. But yeah, the Faith Go to Holiday was great. It seems like every year it becomes more bountiful, fun, grateful, thankful, and the family continues to grow with others getting relationships. So kudos to them. I'm going to stay forever single because I choose that, for I am a soloist for life. and a simple man. But yeah, and I'm looking forward to this. So I think without further ado, City Predicting community and everybody that's watching along, whether on demand or live too, and JJ, let's get right into it. So yeah, this is a big time. What?
I did want to say one other thing real quickly before we get neck
Sure.
deep in this. Thank you to the, as of right now, 78 people that watched our retro watch along last night. I
Oh,
wasn't able to do it at the time we wanted to because priorities over passions. I didn't even get home until like 7 o'clock, so 10 o'clock your time.
fair enough.
But even with running it late like I did, I started at 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific instead of 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. We've still got just under 80 views alone on my channel, plus whatever numbers we did on your channel, Walter's channel, and James's channel. So thank you to everybody who tuned in at that late hour last night to watch our Turning Point 2004 retro watch along call.
Just go to show the TNA faithful, they never lost their love for TNA, especially with the letter and the banner back. So thank you all once again. And to your point, JJ, here we are once again with honestly what's been held up as a tradition, except for 1 year or 2 years, last I checked, for TNA, and that is Turning Point. Turning Point taking place this time from WrestleCade weekend. And of course, we'll be doing coverage literally shortly after this stream later tonight as the countdown starts 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Stay tuned for our little pre-show, 6 p.m. Standard Time. 3 p.m. Pacific. And again, this is the first of many events that are going to be covered here at Survivor Studios by all of us during WrestleCade weekend, including the Super Show tomorrow. We'll talk more about that later. So let's go ahead and get right into this card, and we'll kick things off with the countdown. We got some triple threat knockouts action. It is Rosemary, the former TNA Knockouts World Champion, taking on the Angel of the Ring, Xia Brookside, taking on the Cannibal, Savannah Evans. Savannah Evans recently came back and targeted Ling. Apologize if I screwed up your name. Former Xia Li, I'm going to say for now because I'm also just waking up from a food coma. And she basically has targeted her, but she's out to remind everybody exactly who she is. Xia Brookside, of course, who was signed by TNA at the beginning of this year, has been trying to prove a point and soar as high as she can. Why Rosemary is still stuck in the shadows and trying to find light towards her existence, it seems. Whether she falls to decay or whether she comes back and smash people in the face. For those that know Smash Wrestling, you know, Courtney Rush. That being said, triple threat action, all three of these knockouts, no doubt, JJ, trying to reach a turning point maybe towards maybe going after the TNA Knockouts World Championship. That, of course, we'll talk about later. With Rosemary being a former TNA Knockouts World Champion herself and officially putting Wendy Chu to sleep. What's your thoughts on this unique triple threat of power, experience, and I think wildcard factor?
I think you just hit the nail on the head. Again, I haven't really been watching these last couple weeks. Where's Wendy Chu been since the turn? Has she been around? Because I haven't seen her on my NXT. So my question is has she been still lurking in the shadows over on the TNA side of things? Could she interject and cost Rosemary this match as a result of Rosemary having turned on her at the last pay-per-view?
Following Bound for Glory fought, it was Rosemary versus Wendy Chu in a very unique no DQ. So yeah, no DQ, folks, and we'll be talking about the no DQ awards this weekend too. In a no DQ match where both basically fought in a battle of shadows, and Rosemary put Wendy Chu literally to sleep. So below, she has not been seen since.
Yeah, I think Wendy Chu may interject herself here, so I'm looking at Xia Brookside to pull this one out over Savannah Evans. I think Rosemary is going to be taken out of the equation completely. You made a very solid point in your description of the lead up to this match. Xia Brookside signing earlier this year still kind of really tried to establish herself, make a name for herself, and while Savannah Evans could look to gain some traction upon her return, I think Xia Brookside is the story here as we go into the end of the year, the beginning of next year. I think she really needs that momentum push.
All right. And shout out to the 19 of you that's filled out the form so far, included but not limited to my fellow horsemen of predictions, Christopher Ross and Jeff Chadwick, Jossie, Sean Gosaku, Big G, Rocco, Brandon R, Big underscore space, best name ever, Charlene, and Walter Cruz, The Rage of Wrestling, Mark Anderson, King Kieta, amongst others. They're actually going with the experience here, and a majority are actually going with Rosemary, 73%. You picked Zaya Brookside. Savannah Evans has the lowest pull right now at 10%. But I think I'm actually going to go with, because at one point, Rosemary did have her eyes on Jordynne Grace Price. And you got to consider right now with a new Knockouts World Champion at this moment, if that still stands, will Rosemary, who's once again on her own, maybe set her sights towards the goal, especially with the fallout that happened this past Thursday with Tasha Steelz, Alicia Edwards on TNA Impact. But I also think, because the last time we saw Sarah Brookside, of course I saw live, she was tagging alongside NXT's Blindy Reese. And of course, they lost to the team again of Elegance. Blech. And it looks like Zaya Brookside right now is going in a different dynamic. I don't know whether or not Savannah will target Zaya if she wins here, but Savannah right now trying to prove a point. If Zaya throws the cannonball off guard and uses her own body momentum against her, Zaya with the Brookside bomb, I think Zaya can get the win. So I'm actually going to agree with you here and say that Zaya surprises us. And again, if there's one thing we know about TNA, it's probably the most unpredictable because anyone can win at any time. And in a triple threat, I know it's usually buffer, fall person, but I think there's more in continuity for all three women, no matter the result. I'm still shocked what happened during that fatal four-way we called earlier this year, just saying. So I'm going to go with Zaya as well. And I hope that Zaya does get a chance to maybe go after the Knockouts World Championship again. Zaya Brookside. Soar high, Zaya. All right, let's go ahead and see what we got going on here. Jerry's saying Rosemary as well. Again, going off experience, and Rosemary, the most unorthodox compared to the Knockouts division. That's saying something with the Knockouts always being the alternative to be you, be true, and find who you are as well. Hello, Tara. So I like that. I like the fact that we are going on different dynamics, but we don't think the cannibal is going to eat enough leftovers from Thanksgiving to get the win here. Okay. So I'm just saying, she calls herself the cannibal for a reason. All right. Let's go ahead and move into the main card here, and let's kick things off with six-man tag team action. The newly signed My Tyad, congratulations to them. The Hardys, Matt and Jeff Hardy, and of course, one half of the ABC, Chris Bay, get well soon. Ace Austin, the inevitable one. They take on the Rascalz, looking to rise up through the ranks of the tag team division, and tie alongside them a longtime friend, Kushida, the time splitter himself. Of course, this match stems off kind of a basis of respect. And of course, for the longest time, the Hardys now being the heads of the TNA Tag Team Division, the Rascalz, former TNA Tag Team Champions, they might be looking towards getting a shot at those titles, and pitting one of the champs here could basically lead to that. And of course, the kids with Trey, Miguel, and Ace Austin, I mean, you only have to look at the last 2 years of Impact Wrestling to see how far that goes over the X Division title. And of course, Ace Austin, he rolls solo right now, because again, Chris Bay is out injured. Get well soon. The thing about this match that I find most unique is Kushida. Kushida right here is the X factor for me, of course, with his partner Kevin Knight. And of course, Kushida and Kevin Knight right now are IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions who will defend those titles at Wrestle Kingdom in a fatal four-way. And that's yet to be made official, by the way, for January 4th. But pretty much that's what's going to happen. I look at the Rascalz and the Hardys. And the Rascalz, of course, trying to bounce back, overcoming the likes of First Class and having a good tag team bounce back in a tag match recently. And then you got Ace Austin right now, where I don't know what his direction is without Chris Bay. So with TNA not having a trios dynamic, what do you think, JJ?
Well, breaking news of sorts. According to Datilla in the chat, due to travel issues, Trey Miguel is not going to be part of the show.
Ooh.
So he will be being replaced. So I don't know if that is going to be a factor in things. But at the end of the day, I was going to pick the Hardys and Ace Austin anyway. No disrespect to the Rascalz and Kushida, but with the announcement just coming out these last couple days that the Hardys have re-signed with TNA or signed with TNA, they're not going to have them job.
No.
And with Ace Austin, like you said, still kind of trying to find his footing in his place without his tag team partner, Chris Bay, which December 29th, I forget the name of the company, but there's a wrestling promotion that's going to be doing a show for Chris Bay. And the wrestlers are waiving their fees.
Respect.
That way, all that money can go towards Chris Bay and his recovery and everything, along with whatever money they raise on the ticket sales and whatnot. So, huge kudos and shout out to that promotion. Again, I apologize for getting your name, but if they end up streaming it on YouTube, title match, anything like that, we will be covering that here on the Simply Reliable Studios out of respect for Chris Bay. But I think a lot of it depends on who replaces Trey Miguel. You know, who could they have in their bag of tricks that would make sense to replace it? You know, you figure a lot of Kushida's partners, at least the ones that I think of off the top of my head, Saban and Shelley are now in WWE.
SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
You know, then you go to Zachary Wentz. Well, Wes Lee attacked and turned on him. So bringing him from NXT probably isn't going to make any kind of sense.
No, and also I believe he's in the Iron Survivor Challenge, so he's busy.
Well, yeah, but that's not tonight. So there's no reason why he couldn't do it.
I suppose.
But I also don't know if there's a thing as far as the WrestleCade people and WWE talent, because there's no active WWE NXT talent part of the WrestleCade event whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that would be a hiccup as far as the NXT-TNA crossover, which might go back to my countdown prediction and maybe prevent Wendy Chu from being part of things.
Right.
But regardless, at the end of the day, the Hardys are going to get the victory here.
Yeah, I just think that, again, with the fact they did just resign, and shout out to my fellow TNA correspondent, we got Nola for life. I hope to see you one day, partner. Shout out to the on the chat. Go follow her post when it's wrestling time, as always. Myron Reed is a fair shout because Myron Reed is also a fellow Rascal. We've seen him come on behalf of Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel. We've even seen him involved in trios action. I was also thinking about Leon Slater, the bright rising prospect, where again, he and Kushida, they recently had a bout as well. And there might be some mutual respect amongst that. So right now, my mind goes towards those two men particularly. But either way, I still can't go against the Hardys and Ace Austin. And to also look at your sentiments, the show, by the way, is, yes, December 29th. It is by the company Smash Wrestling up in Canada, December 29th from the Rec Room, Toronto. I remember that venue. So again, if you're a follower of Smash Wrestling, if you're a supporter of TNA Wrestling, please show your support for that show if you can in some way. That is December 29th. Dashing a benefit show for Chris Bay. Tickets on sale now. Go get your tickets today. Tickets, smash-wrestling.com. Thank you, Smash Wrestling. Also, Smash Wrestling, where Courtney Rush, aka Rosemary, was born, and the bunny, yay, of course, Demon versus Bunny was born literally out of that promotion. Excuse me, Demon versus Slayer was born out of that promotion. Jessica Havoc, also a veteran of that promotion. I could talk a little bit more about that later. Maybe we'll cover a Smash Wrestling show one of these points. But if it's not Myron Reed, I can see it being Leon Slater, but either way, you can't bet against the Hardys right now, especially if they just re-sign. I think Ace Austin is going to really tell the tale here if he's the guy that gets the win, and then we'll see what happens with the dynamic, because I think they just might do that for, a little bit of good sportsmanship. But I still think Ace Austin and the Hardys win at the end of the day. And so does practically everybody in the poll of 19 right now, except for one person who picked Rascalz, Hybrid, and Kushida. Okay, and what's this? They're in North Carolina. No way the Hardys. Oh, that's true. Duh. WrestleCade JJ is in literally Hardy territory, North Carolina. There's no way they're losing. Hi, Walter.
Well, there is ways they can lose. Let's be real. I mean, how many times has the former owner of the WWE booked people to lose in their hometown? And TNA isn't immune to it. I know that they're not that person. TNA's had people lose in their hometown also.
Right.
So it's not like it's impossible. But to quote the words of Boss Man Rift, highly unlikely in all likelihood.
Quote, unquote. Okay. Well, either way, Hardys and Ace Austin for the win. It should be a great six-man tag. All right. Well, this next match, I know you're going to want to at least talk about or introduce why he disrespects Jay Chung every time he gets a daggum chance. And I hope the realist freaking slaps the taste out of his freaking mouth with that trophy. Damn it. It's Mike Santana going one-on-one with Ladies and gentlemen, the self-proclaimed king of TNA would like me to remind you that you have now every reason to hate him. And the Call Your Shot Gauntlet winner, Frankie Kazarian. Frankie Kazarian, who, of course, has a guaranteed title shot anytime he wants, up to 1 year after winning the Call Your Shot Gauntlet at Bound for Glory. While Mike Santana, he was able to beat the former TNA World Champion, Moose, in a great one-on-one grudge encounter. Recently, these two jaw-jacked one another and talked about how both men have the same desire, and we'll be watching tonight's main event very close between Nick Nemeth and Eddie Edwards. And Mike Santana says, why I couldn't shut your mouth on TNA. You aren't booked for Turning Point. You couldn't get the night off. No. There are no nights off in TNA. I'm going to go to Santino Marella, and we're going to have this one-on-one encounter so I could shut you up. And he dropped the microphone in his trophy, calling him a douchebag. Respect. And Frank Kazarian, he did get a win over Rhino, but then got gored afterwards. That's what you get for having an ego. All right, JJ, I'm not going to say anything else. Go ahead and talk about who wins this match. Gee, I'm going to really be surprised when you pick here.
He's the best around. He's the coolest. He is the king of TNA. And this is no disrespect to Santana, but again, making the parallels between TNA and WWE. I don't think they're going to book the Call Your Shot Gauntlet winner to lose every match before he calls it shot like they do with the Money in the Bank briefcase holder. You know, while I think that Santana would benefit with the victory over Kaz, to Datilla's point, I think that Kaz really needs a little bit of momentum. I think he needs to get a number of victories before he calls his shot, because we never know when that's going to be. Could he do it at WrestleCade? Could he do it at Final Resolution? Will he wait for the genesis of a new year? Is he going to hold it until something like Slammiversary and like really make people be patient for it?
It's fair. And also by crook, he did beat Ronald this past Thursday with a crooked roll-up, but then he got gored afterwards. So even, I guess, if Mike Santana don't win, he could still spin the block against Frank Kazarian post-match, and the crowd will be happy. But Mike Santana, he's been on a good roll as of late since coming into TNA and trying to branch out all on his own. When people at one point disparage him, saying you're not good enough, etc., something everyone can relate to, because we've all heard that at one point from somebody, or we thought about that ourselves. I kind of feel for Mike Santana here, but I do see what you're saying. But at the end of the day, Kazarian's already got a guaranteed shot. Santana's trying to prove a point. And I know Santana recently put the beef away between First Class, dropping Case Navarro, thankfully, and not joining First Class. But I could also see them being a bit butt sore and maybe trying to cost the man here. But it's TNA. Sometimes you just don't know what happens. I'm going against you. No disrespect to the friend, but this guy needs to be reminded exactly what TNA is about. It sure as hell isn't all about him. I'm going with Frank. I'm going with Mike Santana for the win. And majority actually agree with me on the poll. 12 of the 19 are going with Mike Santana, while 7, including you, are going with Frankie Kazarian. So I'm going with Mike Santana for the win. Again, it only takes 3 seconds. Outsmart him. Let's see. And to JJ's point earlier, Walter Cruz, shout out to Rachel Wrestling. Please subscribe to the channel, folks. Don't treat the shot like Money in the Bank where people lose all of a sudden and catch their chance and make them strongly booked so we could actually believe it when he causes it and wins. Well, again, TNA is not WWE, thankfully. And they've never been there, except for that one era that we don't talk about for reasons. But either way, yeah, right. And all about money. Anyway, first time we're split. I'm going with Santana. You're going with Kazarian.
That era most definitely was not too sweet.
Hey, no, it was not, bro. All right. And while I definitely didn't trust anything in that era, debates out there whether or not I still trust the system, but I do trust Moose in proving everybody wrong when it comes to calling his shot versus elevating this division, the division of no limits. let's go ahead and talk about the cornerstone of this company as the X Division Championships on the line as Moose, the new X Division Champion, beating Speedball Mike Bailey in a banger a couple of weeks ago and lighting a fire underneath the entire X Division, goes one-on-one with Laredo Kid. This stems off the fact that Laredo Kid and Leon Slayer got the better of the system a couple weeks ago on Impact Wrestling. It was Moose and JDC with Leon Slater getting, the trap roll-up on JDC, and Moose and JDC got a little butt hurt afterwards, where again, you don't outwork the system. There was a double beatdown afterwards, but Laredo Kid with the equalizer, a steel chair, and thus this match was made official. Laredo Kid, of course, a former digital media champion, has been a longtime namesake of TNA's X Division. And this will be Moose's first defense of the X Division Championship, the title that's eluded Moose's entire career, and now he holds it. And according to his Twitter, he plans on elevating this title. Trust the system if you choose. He does not plan to use option C, but he's going to lose it before he even gets a chance to try and elevate it. Does the system fail tonight? Well, JJ, again, Moose has always been one of those people you've never been really sure on how to think about when it comes to just him, whether it's the athleticism, the character, or just the dynamic himself. But to Moose's credit, he is honestly the face of the franchise. He is Mr. TNA this era because he's done everything. And now he has the X Division Championship with this 6'3" former linebacker now holding the title about no limits. What the hell do you expect coming out of his first defense tonight against the Laredo Kid?
Think he retains. To your point, it's his first title defense. I don't think you have him lose the title that quickly. That would be pointless. We've been talking ever since he lost the championship to Nick Nemeth about a system reboot. Him winning the X Division title, I think, was the start of that system reboot.
No doubt.
Because now we've got Eddie Edwards challenging Nick Nemeth for the world title, which we'll get to in a little bit. And I don't think Eddie Edwards is going to get that championship, but the fact that there's other members of the system challenging for the world title while Moose, the former champion, has taken a step down to the X Division, and I don't mean a step down in a negative way.
No.
I feel like that is the system reboot we've been looking for. But he's not going to lose the title. He just won it.
Yeah, I don't see this being a Speedball Mike Bailey situation where the pride of the champion presenting the opportunity loses it outgoing. And again, thank you, Speedball, for everything you've done to TNA, and wherever the roads take you, all the best, good sir.
Well, we'll see Speedball tomorrow taking on Shelton Benjamin as part of the Rascalz Super Show, and that's going to be a banner and a half.
And of course, Benjamin,
that better be the main event.
Well, depending on what the rest of the card is, we'll see. But that's definitely going to be worthy of being called the main event, if not match of the night, because Speedball versus Blank is usually a match of the night. But going just real quick, I also want to thank everybody that tuned in for the Thanksgiving Eve edition of AEW Dynamite coverage, including me spearheading it solo for like the first hour. God bless you and what Walter do when it comes to producer role. That is downright madness. I had to be Joey Styles and producer, man. I was freaking Kevin Dumb about the camera angle cuts. But anyway, it was great fun. I hope everybody enjoyed that. And Sean Benjamin did get his first few points of Condo Clyde. Y'all can go watch that back in the archives. And stay tuned. We'll continue giving you coverage of AEW throughout December with so much more. We'll probably do the watch along trailer later. But yeah, I don't see Moose losing it right out of the gate. I think Moose, to Moose's credit, when he holds a championship, he holds it for a long damn time, presents it and defends it. And I think he is going to be a mainstay name for the X Division. And I think it's going to hold for this title for quite a bit. And this whole ring ceremony now that bounds the system together that they recently did, clearly they are going, I think, to, like you said, a different direction with the system. And I think it starts with Moose having the X Division Championship. So, yeah, I got Moose retaining. Believe it or not, it's not unanimous, though. Two people did pick Laredo Kid, so maybe they're looking for an upset. Or maybe they think Moose is out there. I don't know. But a majority, 9%, are going with Moose. And Hassan, good to see you. And to Walter Cruz, yeah, pretty much we're all on the same settlement. We may not trust the system, but we trust Moose is going to retain the X Division Championship. And as far as AEW, Galzacon, and non-TNA talk to each other, save it for Saturday shenanigans or Super Chat. It's as simple as that. And I'm not sure yet. All right. But I am expecting this to be a very unique match because, again, big heavyweight, small lucha libre speed dynamic. I'm curious to see how Moose handles this. It's the first time I ever won my matchup, by the way, too. He's never faced the Laredo Kid in one-on-one action. So good
It's
luck
the
to both.
proverbial David and Goliath story.
Exactly.
Surprised you didn't use that analogy as a religious man, a church-going man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, he's not going to use a slingshot, so but he might need one. And he might need a bigger stone, too, to drop Moose. Then again, Moose almost broke his hand or his speed on my Billy. So Moose might be his own worst enemy. We'll see. Speaking of being your own worst enemy, what's more important here? Getting the win or not getting covered? Hey, JJ, gobble, gobble. What does AJ Styles, Alex Shelley, Chris Adonis, and the disease of the industry, Disco Inferno, all have in common?
They've all had to wear the dreaded turkey suit.
That's right. It's back. It is once again time. And this is the 10th ever Turkey Bowl match. It is a 6-way scramble. First pinfall submission wins. And the loser, well, you better suit up or you're fired. It's a 6-way dance, the Turkey Bowl match. It is everyone's favorite, Joe Hendry. And of course, oh, wait, I said his name.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
Dang it, I always get caught in that. Anyway, it's Joe Hendry, Eric Young, Hammerstone, PCO, Brian Myers of the System, and a good hand, John Skyler. It's a 6-way match. First pinfall submission wins. But here's the caveat, and this is the first time ever I'm doing this in predictions because it really is more about who loses. The loser of the match has to wear the dreaded turkey suit or they're fired. So for the first time ever in Cinema Predicting history, you're not predicting the winner, you're predicting the loser. Okay, JJ, but let's be real here for a little bit, shall we? Joe Hendry, former challenger for the TNA World Championship. He still, of course, has huge inspirations to challenge for that, working his way up from the bottom to the top, beating Ryan Nemeth most recently. Eric Young, of course, with great respect for Steve Maclin. It feels like he's been trying to help Steve Maclin find himself again. It's almost like Steve Maclin feels like he's forgotten in time. We'll talk more about that later. Hammerstone, who recently made a tag team alongside Jake Something, and Trent Seven, who had become a trio, it seems, looking to run roughshod over TNA. Plus, I don't think the suit's going to fit him. And then PCO, of course, is the current digital media champion and international heavyweight champion. Brian Myers, part of the System, former TNA tag team champion. And no doubt he's rooting for Eddie Edwards, probably going to be in his corner. And they might even have aspirations to go after the tag team championships again, considering they previously held them. And then you got the good hand, John Skyler, and Jason Hotch, who might help him, give him a hand in wearing the suit. So, JJ, who is this year's Turkey Bowl loser? Who dons the turkey suit?
Okay. There's a bunch of different ways to examine this. Would you throw the graphic up again real quick?
Absolutely. I'm going to laugh my butt off during this.
Okay, so the obvious answer and the one that Dattila picked would be John Skyler. The good hands are always getting their asses handed to them. They rarely ever seem to get any kind of momentum, any kind of push. He's the easy answer.
Right.
But I don't think it's an easy answer.
You tell.
I think you've got to look at who would be the most ridiculous wearing this costume. And for that, I come back to Hammerstone and PCO. If Moose getting the X Division Championship was the System reboot, you don't want to give the suit to Brian Myers. That's going to kill the serious momentum that the System has.
Right.
Eric Young isn't exactly, well, again, I haven't watched the last few weeks, so I don't want Dattila, pointing out where I'm wrong in my statement, but like, I haven't seen Eric Young have a whole lot of momentum here recently.
Well, again, he's been alongside Steve Maclin fighting against Josh Alexander and the Northern Army. And most recently, he was in a promo where Steve Maclin's trying to figure himself out. And I'll talk more about that with our DQ match later. Continue.
And while the evolution of Eric Young into the EY we see today is a more serious Eric Young, let's not forget the goofball Eric Young from the OG days that would be very comfortable in this turkey suit.
That'd be Shoten Eric Young you're referring to, former TNA
So-
World Champion.
So I almost don't think that would be a punishment for him. This is the same guy that used to flinch and jump every time pyros would go off. This is the same guy that was a Knockouts tag team champion. Wearing the turkey suit, I don't think would be punishment for him.
I hate you keep bringing up that fact.
But it is a fact.
I know.
Okay, so it's got to be acknowledged, just like our tribal chief, and we'll be acknowledging him tomorrow.
Also, damn it.
So you can throw out Brian Myers, you can throw out EY, and I feel you can throw out John Skyler because he's too obvious. So we've eliminated half the field.
Yes.
Now that leaves PCO, Hammerstone, and Joe Hendry. And while I think Joe Hendry would be able to get over wearing the suit, the whole stip of or be fired is what makes me consider him.
That's always been the caveat.
Now, according to what I see online, so take it for what it's worth, people, his contract is supposed to expire in late 2025. But could him refusing to wear the turkey suit and thus getting fired lead him to a WWE official debut earlier,
Possibly.
like the Royal Rumble next year?
In February.
We've already been teasing the fact that he may be an entrant in the Rumble with the NXT-TNA partnership. I think that's almost a lock regardless. The question is, will it be as TNA superstar Joe Hendry or as newly signed WWE superstar Joe Hendry, because he was fired from this? And I know we don't want to think about our boy Joe Hendry getting fired, but it would be an easy out for him to make the transition over to the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good question because, again, I haven't watched, and I know you say that's tradition, but the graphic doesn't say or be fired.
The graphic never said be fired, but every time, and I've watched all the Turkey Ball matches again, this match starting back in 2007, and literally at one point, Eli Drake, the current LA Knight, his partner, Chris Adonis, his partner, Chris Adonis, he literally had to wear the turkey suit, or not only was Chris Adonis going to be fired, Eli Drake was going to be stripped of his world championship. Now, truth be told, nobody here is friends right now with the TNA world champion. So honestly, that caveat's not there. But each and every match, pretty much you had to wear the suit or you would be terminated.
No one's friends with the world champion, but Brian Myers is friends with the X Division champion. And the system is a target.
True.
So you could always play that stipulation with the X Division title if necessary.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to go with, I come back to PCO and Hammerstone. Just because they're the biggest.
Oh, gosh.
And they would look the goofiest. Like, I could see Matt Cardona getting involved and costing PCO. If that rivalry is still going on. Cardona's going to be a part of WrestleCade weekend. He's booked as part of the WrestleCade Super Show for Saturday.
That's a fair
teaming
point.
with Brad Attitude, I believe.
Yes, that's correct. Because they're going to be facing the Nemeth, I think.
So I could see Cardona costing PCO the match. But I really want to see Hammerstone in that suit. Like, I can imagine them ripping the arm pieces off so that his big muscular arms are like hanging out, but he's still wearing the rest of the suit.
He'll probably tear the suit in half. All right.
So
So you're going officially with Hammerstone.
I'm going to go with Hammerstone. I think he would look
Wow.
the most ridiculous.
It's almost one of those phases in this match. I don't know if I want the obvious point or I want the biggest humiliation after what you just said, because that angry big giant dude and Jake something maybe coming down trying to tell him, okay, you gotta wear this, but then they both turn it apart. I can literally see this being something that puts him over the edge. But I think just because right now I am in the lead, I'm going to stick with the simple and go with John Skyler, because when it comes to a pair of good hands, if you want somebody there for humiliation, hey, that's a hell of a common ticket to go after. And I can see also Jason Hodge being alongside him to try and help him wear the suit, or, being like, you got to do it, man. You just got to do it. You got to do it. It just feels like one of those comedy moments. And we all know TNA. If there's one thing we talk about with the alternative at times, not only are they highly premier in wrestling and women's wrestling, it's comedy relief. I'm going to go with John
what's
Skyler
more
here.
comedic here? The guys that you know can do comedy, or the guy that would traditionally be the straight man being forced to be the comedic hand?
It's kind of a toss-up for me, honestly, JJ.
Plus, the good hands are going to be in tag action as part of the WrestleCade Super Show as well, taking on TNT. So I don't know about them doing that, because then would the turkey suit come into play there? Would they be wearing it as part of the show? Like, I don't know if that would make a crossover appearance. Like,
I don't think it would. Because
if the crowd sees him lose and be forced to wear this suit on show A,
yeah,
and then they attend show B and he's not wearing the suit, that could cause confusion to fans in attendance.
True.
Whereas none of the other people in this match are booked for part of the WrestleCade Super Show. So that's another reason why I'm thinking Skyler may be able to fly under the radar and escape the embarrassment here.
And now you mentioned that, I mean, PCO pinning Hammerstone kind of sounds crazy enough because you don't bet against PCO and TNA apparently. Damn it, JJ.
I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying. Like, if you think about the comedy teams out there, you think about Abbott and Costello, you think about Laurel and Hardy, you think about Martin and Lewis, Jerry Lewis was always the slapsticky goofball taking the licks here, and Dino was the straight man. So would you laugh harder if Lewis is wearing the turkey suit, or if Martin was forced to do it? Because now he's got to step outside of his comfort zone and be the funny guy when he's used to being the straight guy.
All right. You tugged my funny bone. I'm going to go with Hammerstone. Damn you.
I'm just saying, if I end up being wrong, I will apologize to you. Well, I won't say that. If Skyler ends up losing, I will apologize to you, because then you would have had it right. But if anybody else in the field loses, at least I maintained the fact that Skyler was the easy out, and I was proven right in that fact.
All right, fair enough. And
I agree with Datilla. The good hands are so underrated. I want to see them as TNA Tag Team Champions so bad.
If that's the team that upsets the Hardys, I swear.
Dude, why not, though? They literally are what they say they are. They are a pair of good hands. They are solid wrestlers. Let them be the guys to ground the high flying Hardy Boys.
Well,
it makes sense.
Sometimes wrestling and sense doesn't go in the same sentence, but I understand where you're coming from. And that several people, by the way, are going with John Skyler, but believe it or not, he is not the primary pick. 7 went with John Skyler, 3 went with Joe Hendry. How dare you? 1 person went with PCO. 8 people went with Brian Myers. So it's Brian Myers and John Skyler that's tossed up right now amongst the poll. But I mean, again, people's predictions, your predictions are not final. 6 p.m. Standard Time tonight. So we'll see. But you definitely got me rethinking this. But either way, I'm still going to laugh my butt up seeing somebody wear that turkey suit because that always makes me laugh.
No doubt. No doubt.
Chris Adonis, Jesse Goddard, Disco Inferno, disease of the industry. Jay Vidal to Datilo's point. Robbie T, because Robbie E was knocked out. Alex Shelley, and to think the very first man that wore it back in 2007, Mr. TNA himself, AJ Styles.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Chris Adonis is the masterpiece, Chris Masters, right?
That's right. He was the running mate with Eli Drake at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And of
I
course,
just wanted to confirm that because I was fairly certain, but for newer fans who may not have known the gimmick, I just wanted to establish because he keeps saying Adonis because I know that was his TNA shtick, but I just wanted to make sure that's who I was thinking of. Okay.
Yep, you got it.
Moving right along.
Yeah, moving right along. All good stuff. All right. Well, I know it's a lot of fun here, but again, when it comes to women's wrestling, NXT right now is becoming the hottest thing in the business, but I still hold TNA to the greater standard because the prestige is the most prestigious title in all women's wrestling. Bite me if you think otherwise. Although Mariah May versus Nia Shirakawa has been extremely exciting. The Virtuosa going to Mexico to compete in CMLL. Long may she fucking reign. And speaking of the Virtuosa, there's something in common with her, Jordynne Grace, and the current one, Masha Slamovich. They all held this. Now, this is definitely going to be a turning point in this rivalry. It is Masha Slamovich defending the TNA Knockouts World Championship against the juggernaut, Jordynne Grace, her generational rival in a 2 out of 3 falls match. And something tells me why this is Jordynne Grace contractually obligated rematch. This is probably going to be her last chance. Masha Slamovich and Jordynne Grace, of course, culminated their rivalry 2 years in building at Bound for Glory, with Masha destroying Jordynne Grace with an avalanche snowplow in the end to finally win the Knockouts World Championship. Congratulations to Russian Dynamite herself. Also, great match on Bloodsport. Jordynne Grace, of course, who has been the trailblazer, the history maker, the pioneer of the Knockouts division since TNA's existence this year, beating Trinity, has been the face of the Knockouts and NXT, never being perfectly honest. Only to lose this title to Jordynne Grace at BFG, and now she's going for a rematch after Masha Slamovich successfully defended her title this past Thursday 2 weeks ago on TNA Impact Wrestling against Alicia Edwards in a no disqualification match. And while Alicia and Tasha Steelz are trying to buy their way towards the Knockouts World Championship, both have lost to both these women. They also have lost to these women in tag team matching, get to the back of the line. So here we have these two, and what I feel is got to be their last encounter in this rivalry, JJ. But it's 2 out of 3 falls. And of course, the last time these two had a match that was a rematch from Bound for Glory, it was Masha that lost to Jordynne Grace, but that was last Knockout Standing. That was 2 out of 3 falls. There's a reason why this show is called Turning Point. One of these two is going to hit a point of no return, and it involves being champion or challenging for the title. JJ, what do you got to say about this TNA Knockouts World Championship match? Does Jordynne Grace regain, or does Masha smash Jordynne Grace probably for the last time?
Well, I definitely think Masha retains here. Again, according to what I read online, so take it for what it's worth, Jordynne Grace's contract expires in January of 2025. So there's no point in giving her the championship unless she resigns. And with as much as she's been appearing over in NXT, I think a transition to WWE is very likely, in all likelihood.
Mm-hmm.
So let Masha get the victory here. Maybe if this isn't the end of the rivalry, then maybe at Final Resolution, have Jordynne do, if I lose, then I'm gone from TNA. And that's how you ride her out. But Masha is actually the MVP of this weekend. She is the only person performing at all 3 shows.
As always.
She's performing here against Jordynne. She's got Lindsay Snow as part of the WrestleCade Super Show, the only women's match on the WrestleCade Super Show. And she's taking on La Rosa Negra as part of Ladies Night Out. Jordynne Grace is also on Ladies Night Out, but she is not part of the Super Show tomorrow. She'll be taking on the former Alicia Fox as part of Ladies Night Out. So, you kind of, with that kind of MVP status, you've almost got to give Masha the victory. That way she can go into her other matches with such momentum. And again, if Jordynne's contract is expiring in January, then I could see Masha retaining here, and then, like I said, run it back in December. If I lose, then I leave TNA.
Final resolution, final confrontation, final battle. I can definitely see it. And I know, again, thinking about the Royal Rumble, we're thinking about, surprise appearances, first-time show-ups. I mean, Jordynne Grace has to be there again. I mean, she was in the Royal Rumble this year. I do think she's a lock definitely for the Royal Rumble again, too. But I also think that it's Masha's time. To this point, as somebody that's followed the Nagas division since its establishment back in 2007, courtesy of the pioneer Gail Kim, again, Masha and Deonna have been defining rivalries. And you can go check out the Immersed video, by the way, from Masha and Jordynne Grace's match up to Bound for Glory on TNA Wrestling's YouTube channel, folks. They have been the defining rivalries that have defined Jordynne Grace to be the competitor that she is. While Deonna and Grace, they fought over 5 battles for the better part of freaking 3 years. Here we have Masha and Grace defining battles over the better part of 2 years and some months. And I think it is Masha's time. I think Masha's long overdue to lead this division. So I think beating her rival once for all, and I think there's a reason why this is Charlotte Free Falls match. Well, you think maybe another battle. If this wasn't Charlotte Free Falls, I probably would more likely think that, but I think it's Charlotte Free Falls for a reason. And I got Masha going 2-1. I think it goes all 3 falls, and I think it's going to be the longest battle of the night. That's the most competitive. But I got Masha winning, and it's unanimous right now across the entire City Predicting poll, 100% in favor of Masha Slamovich. Thank you, Jordynne Grace, though, if this is truly indeed the case.
Yeah, I definitely think that this is going to go 2-1. They've got such a storied rivalry. I think that if anybody wins 2-0, it's a miscarriage of justice for their feud.
I agree wholeheartedly, simply put. All right.
Although I do think Jordynne should get the first fall to leave some doubt, and then let Masha get the final 2 falls.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we're so used to the idea of 1 and 1, but usually it's like, opposite. Why not have somebody go 2 falls back to back, but to the end versus, right out of the gate? I really wanted to go that dynamic. And again, with TNA, they like to give something outside the straight and narrow. So, I mean, we'll find out soon enough how this windy road goes, but it's going to be a hell of a contest, and I can't wait to call it as an advocate of women's wrestling. We got this. We got Mariah May versus Mina Shirakawa. Yay, Mina. I got Tem Nakano versus Saya Kamatani for Stardom. I got some damn good women's championship wrestling. Freaking Red Velvet is going to defend her Ring of Honor Women's World Television title against legit Layla Hirsch in Final Battle. Athena and Billy Starks needs to happen too. I'm just saying. So,
and then again, we've got a 15-match card so far for Sunday that is all women's wrestling.
And we know already one title is being defended there. Izzy Moreno's world title.
Actually, 4 championships are being defended because there's a title versus title match. Then there's Izzy's match, and then Thunder Rosa is defending a championship there as well.
Oh, wow.
But there's actually a Ladies' Night Out championship that I guess was established at one of the former shows.
Oh.
And the Ladies' Night Out champion is defending against somebody else for title.
That makes sense. It almost kind of reminds me of Bloodsport when, it was Lindsay Snow, Marina Shafir, Jakai. So, I mean, of Contra, of MLW, we're in that, 4-way. And
Angelica Risk, who's the Ladies' Night Out champion, taking on Jasmine Allure, the Hurricane Pro Women's Champion.
Ooh,
championship versus championship.
I remember Jasmine Allure. She's been involved in NWA and AEW. Wouldn't mind seeing her in the Ring of Honor Women's Division. Good to know. And shout out to Bert Vixen, by the way, who's now the World Wrestling Association champion. Congratulations to her. Again, respect women in wrestling. Respect women's professional wrestling. Respect professional wrestling. Damn it. All right.
We do not digress.
Yes, that is the fact. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to what you put as a semi-main. And again, unique order, but honestly, I would justify it. It's speaking of rivalries, it's Josh Alexander versus Steve Maclin 3. But this time, it's no disqualification. The walking weapon, Josh Alexander versus Steve Maclin. Man for all, and an armory probably will be part of the arsenal. Of course, this picks up all the way from Bound for Glory after Josh Alexander incapacitated Steve Maclin, who went out literally on his own will while zip-tied and passed out to a submission. Since then, though, there have been unique vignettes with him and Eric Young, almost Eric Young being the voice in his head, trying to help Steve Maclin remember exactly who he is, why he believes that he's lost in time, tortured, a lonely soul, lonely and lost. Very unique, again, dynamic from the former servicemen, where it's almost like he had to go into his past to find himself and maybe find what he needs to be to beat Josh Alexander and maybe be what TNA needs. So, bottom line is Josh Alexander, Steve Maclin 3, no disqualification. Can Steve Maclin stop the heartbeat of the walking weapon? And Josh Alexander, of course, who said he's done with independent dates in January, I imagine he's going to have more of a focus on TNA. And considering Josh Alexander and Steve Maclin are both former TNA World Champions, you got to consider that the winner of this is going to be watching the main event very closely. And also Steve Maclin, he's probably going to go into this alone knowing Eric Young's in the Turkey Bowl match. But Josh Alexander has an armory with him now, the Northern Armory, Incinerator and Saint. Of course, you remember JJ from Prestige Wrestling. So that being said, JJ, Josh got the win at Bound for Glory, and Steve Maclin is basically looking for revenge, and there are no rules here. And it's going to take more than breaking someone's will, I think, to win this bout. Who you got winning?
You said this is their third match?
Yeah, because the very first one-on-one they ever had was back at Victory Road when Josh Alexander returned from injury. And, of course, Josh Alexander won that night.
Well, again, as you speak on some of these, I've been doing some research. And again, according to the internet, Josh Alexander's contract is set to expire February of next year. So without running it back so quickly and doing matches on Impact, I can only see them getting a best of 5 series out of this instead of a best of 7. You know, match 3 here, match 4 at Final Resolution, match 5 at Genesis. He leaves in February. So, that being said, and what's the status? Are they tied right now at 1 apiece, or does one of them have 2-0?
I think Josh Alexander has 2 overall over Steve Maclin.
Okay, if Josh Alexander is up 2-0 in the series, then I'm going to go with Maclin here. But I could see this being Josh's final rivalry before his departure. And maybe he's using it as a way to get Sinner and Saint, the Northern Armory, as they've been dubbed, over before he departs.
Sup. Yep. Again, Josh Alexander first faced Steve Maclin at Victory Road 2023. And these guys are 2 of the hardest workers and hitters in all of TNA. And then at Bound for Glory, Josh Alexander got the better of Steve Maclin by referee's decision. So it is 2-0 in favor of Alexander. So I almost feel like, especially with Maclin, who resigned on the dotted line this year at Rebellion, Macklin's going to find himself, bring Mayhem for all. Now he proved that he's willing to go against the world and die on his own white shield. I think he should finally stand in victory. I'm going with Mr. Mayhem himself this time. I'm going with Steve Maclin as well. But it still is one of those very, to this point, again, you could all find the vignette on TNA Wrestling's YouTube channel. And yes, I did rewatch all that stuff before doing this because that's what I do. It's one of those things, though, right now where, again, I could still see this go either way. Because to your point, there is time left. And again, rumor, unknown, uncertainty, etc. Focusing on removing independent dates, asking the wrestling industry to step up now. Can't say I don't blame him. This match, to me, is the most 50-50 match on the card, considering the history of these 2 men. And the stipulation itself, where no disqualification, pretty much use anything you can, including your imagination, to get the victory. But I also think about right now with the way that they're looking at Steve Maclin, lost, it seems, in who he is. I think they're trying to push forward now that he's going to find what's needed inside him to get the win. So that's why I'm going more with Maclin to get the first win here against ultimately his rival, the walking weapon. But believe it or not, it's almost 50-50. It's 9-10, the 10 in favor of Josh Alexander. So that goes to show how very coin flip you could go with this bout. It really comes down to me, like, what is next for either men? Again, Maclin right now, he's trying to wave the banner of TNA, while Josh Alexander says he is TNA, but kind of turning himself against the TNA faithful, and et cetera. It's almost like he's trying to become Scott D'Amore in his own right with this Northern Armory. And Sinner and Sid are going to be involved here. So, again, seeing Maclin overcome the odds notification, I think just adds to that.
Yeah, I think the end goal here is to get Sinner and Saint over as a tag team on their own by giving them the Alexander rub, and to make Maclin the new heartbeat of TNA on his departure.
Bag him and bag him. Mayhem for all. Front toward army. Or enemy. Excuse me. That's a shirt. But either way, I'm looking forward to this because these two, definition of fight forever. Although, according to what you're saying, that time actually might be more limited than we think. Okay. Well, we've had a lot of great talk, discussion. This guy should be get royalties from every company right now when it comes to booking ideas. But let's go ahead and move on to, again, a very simple, short card and what proverbially is going to be the main event. And before people say the obvious answer as far as who's winning, I got another question for you. Does John Layfield show up? And if so, what does he do? It's Nick Nemeth, the Wanted Man, defending the TNA World Championship against the Systems. Eddie Edwards in one-on-one action. Eddie Edwards, a former multiple-time TNA World Champion. And, of course, this match stems off the fact that Eddie Edwards got a pinfall win over some miscommunication in a tag team match on the TNA World Champion after hitting with a Boston Knee Party, which developed that rivalry with Joe Hendry and that unsettled easiness with Nick Nemeth's brother, Ryan Nemeth. And you all can go check out the Ryan Nemeth story, courtesy of Joe Hendry, on his YouTube channel. It's an instant classic. And probably the shortest Joe Hendry music video I've ever seen in my life, and I love it.
Ryan Nemeth. He's Nick's brother.
He's Nick Nemeth's brother. The end. Is he wrong, though? I mean, really?
I mean, name me a Ryan Nemeth AEW highlight. I'll wait.
2 hours later. I got nothing. Anyway, to Nick Nemeth, who's been the TNA World Champion after winning in that 6-way dance with Frankie was the last man. He took him into the danger zone. That's Limit Birds with defense is successful against Moose and Joe Hendry. Thanks to John Layfield's cursing ass. Damn it. But anyway, we now find ourselves where Joe Hendry, again, he's working his way from the bottom. Curses the team Morrell, who still believes in him, but he's not giving out title shots, despite the fact Nick Nemeth is willing to give Joe Hendry another title shot. But Santana Morrell, that son of a gun, won't allow it. And of course, we know Joe Hendry, he'll probably be watching this too. Joe Hendry, who's literally been removing Alicia Edwards from ringside, making sure she hasn't gotten involved when Nick Nemeth's been trying to take out the system, because Brian Myers has also been trying to take him out. Okay, so bottom line, we got the system, we got Joe Hendry, we got John Layfield, who are currently an exclusive, was coming out of the system's locker room and has so far taken the head off the system, Nick Nemeth's brother, Joe Hendry, and Frank Kazarian. And the only thing he's done with Nick Nemeth is whispered in his ear when he first showed up in TNA. What the hell is John Layfield doing here in TNA? And what is this concern or connection or mission statement for this lone desperado who's clotheslining everybody, including James Ellsworth at an independent wrestling show? What the hell is this man's itinerary? Anyway, Nick Nemeth's retaining. That's the obvious answer, I feel like. But this is one of those things where, in a rare TNA case, it's not about the result. It's about the story. And the story is, what the hell is John Layfield doing? JJ, go ahead and throw your hat towards this.
Well, you ask, what the hell is John Layfield doing? You ask, will JBL show up tonight? I pose a question to you. With Joe Hendry doing what he's doing with Alicia Edwards, with the system being involved with the JBL factor, does the king of TNA take advantage of the chaos to call his shot?
I I don't think John Layfield's going to allow that because you saw what happened at Bound for Glory. He took Frankie Kazarian's head off first.
So he's got a vendetta, right?
I would say yes.
So Kazarian comes out, gets rid of JBL. The system beats down Nick Nemeth. Kazarian cashes in his contract and becomes champion.
I wonder if Joe Hendry would stop it. Because if Joe Hendry moves Alicia Edwards, could he come back out? Because that's what Joe Hendry's been doing, and I've loved that. But also,
Joe Hendry is one man against the system.
True, it doesn't mean he can't bring Equalizer.
Even if you bring Joe Hendry and Ryan Nemeth in to try to do battle with the system, they're still outnumbered.
And Ryan Nemeth, last time I checked, probably still has beef for Joe Hendry, especially after the fact he lost the man one-on-one on TNA Impact.
Just something to think about. I could see all of this chaos being the perfect opportunity for someone like Kazarian to cash in his opportunity.
I could also see Mike Santana, though, showing up. Because we talk about people that want the TNA World Championship and also with vendettas. If your boy wins by dubious means, who's to say Mike Santana won't stop, who he's called a douchebag, from cashing in as well?
That's fair.
I'm just saying.
There's a lot of moving parts here. This could be the most overbooked match of the night.
Right? Especially with ref bump. That's when all this could happen. Ref bump.
Mm-hmm. But Nick Nemeth retains as far as Nick Nemeth versus Eddie Edwards goes.
Oh, without a doubt. There's no doubt in my mind.
But again, this is only an 8-match card. One of those matches being on the pre-show. So a 7-match main card show.
Yep.
Does Kazarian cash in his opportunity at a huge wrestling event like WrestleCade?
Where originally he probably was going to take the night off. And also, to your point, every time that John Layfield's arrived in TNA, he has yet to be physically confronted. Every time someone just looks at him, wham! There goes your head. Clothesline from hell.
Something to think about. What do you guys in the chat think? I know Datilla's got to still be lingering. She's been commenting along throughout the entire show, but she's been very quiet about this match.
Yeah.
Is this the type of match that someone like Kazarian takes advantage of with his contract? Talk to us in the chat, people.
Who else gets involved here? Are we leaning to a world war of sorts? Thinking about everybody else that's on this card. Steve Maclin, Josh Alexander, they both have itineraries for the TNA World Championship. You talk about trust the system. Moose no longer concerned with the TNA World Championship, now the X Division Championship, but he still might come to the aid of his system running mates. Brian Myers, of course, who may not be involved in the turkey suit earlier tonight, might frame up towards this. JDC, who is not booked at all, has been the system's cheat code and insurance policy worse than Alicia Edwards, as late it seems. If nothing else, the Whitman boy. There's a lot of things that could happen here come the end of the night before we get to final resolution. But again, final resolution, something has to go down before we get to a Genesis once again at TNA. Genesis in the beginning, a new beginning. I'm just saying, a new beginning, of course, we were presented by New Japan Pro Wrestling in February, probably again in Osaka and Sapporo, but that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, and again, this being a wrestling, massive wrestling event, wrestling convention, all the wrestlers under the sun, something's got to give here during this, clearly. And I do think it's going to build more to subtly. I think we are going to get Nick Nemeth versus Joe Hendry again. I think Rhino is going to have a fallout with his brother. And I do think John Layfield is eventually going to show his hand versus his forearm and fist towards what the hell he's doing in TNA and what is his connection, support, or disapproval all of a sudden in Nick Nemeth. Because if he shows up tonight and takes out Nick Nemeth, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Manuel thinks it's too soon that they're going to milk the contract.
Well, that's a whole different conversation up the air up to Santino Marella and the liaison of NXT, Ariana. But again, we'll have to wait and see. But that being said, the show's called Turning Point, and based on what we've been talking about, there certainly has to be some sort of turning point after tonight with regards to TNA's 2025 before final resolutions are made. So, what are your guys' predictions? What are your comments, thoughts? What are your invasions? What are your interruptions? What do you expect to happen tonight? What's your match of the night? What do you expect to begin? What do you expect to end? Who do you expect to be confronted? Do you expect somebody showing up for the first time? Is a debut going to be teased? Is someone new going to cross the line? Let us know in the comments in the chat or in the comments down below as we are about to conclude. Again, stay tuned for the form shortly once the stream concludes. It will be in the comment section across all the streams, and you guys have literally about an hour. You know what? I'll milk it a little longer. You guys got 2 hours to get your predictions in and make them final for TNA Turning Point, the second to last stop of the 2024 TNA. I'm calling them pay-per-views, okay? Because PLEs just sounds stupid to me. League. Then thank you all for tuning in. Well, JJ, again, it's been absolute fun. And talk about the timer. It's been absolute fun and pleasure. Good luck to
but you
Matt.
wanted to do it in 45 minutes, under an hour. We still went over an hour.
Well, you know, we also had a lot of, again, what Cinema Editing comes down to a friendly conversation with fans and future booking and possible what ifs. This is the type of stuff that happens, and I absolutely love it. And yeah, this is TNA Plus special. That's why I'm calling them from now on outside pay-per-views. There's only big four pay-per-views. This is the only company that truly has big four pay-per-views. When did that stop becoming a damn thing? I'm not trying to rant right now. Anyway, JJ,
WWE still has big four.
big five. They call Money in the Bank a friggin' dead.
I don't consider it that.
Me neither.
So it's a
Stupid.
big four. It's Rumble, it's Mania, it's SummerSlam, it's Survivor Series.
WWE make it official, I'll agree with you. TNA is the only one that knows how to do stuff actually right. Damn it. Anyway, JJ, good luck tonight. And again, we got a lot to do. Whether or not I see you tonight, I know I'm going to see you tomorrow, but let's go ahead and bring up to speed what the hell we're doing this weekend, too. Because, folks, you're in for a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah. We've got so much in store here this week. We've got Turning Point beginning in just under 2 hours. 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, part of WrestleCade weekend. Then we've got the WrestleCade Super Show tomorrow. That starts at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. So our coverage will begin at 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific. That way we can discuss the card just a little bit. We've got Survivor Series War Games.
War Games!
Coverage beginning at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. Then we've got our karaoke that evening.
Damn it.
Of course, it'd be family karaoke. So think about groups and artists that are husband, wife, siblings, etc. You got the Beach Boys in there. You got Oasis in there. You got AC/DC in there. Van Halen, the Jacksons, etc., etc., etc. Then on Sunday, we've got Ladies' Night Out. Yes. Again, as of now, 15 matches booked, all women's matches. Coverage for that begins at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific. And so much more coming up
as we enter the last month of the year. And that being said, JJ, I mean, again, we'll probably show tomorrow, but again, you also, of course, have stuff happening on your channel, coming up with your own Final Resolution 2025. Where people can find you?
Well, you can find me on Instagram, the Renegade JJ Williams, on Blue Sky and Twitter, ROWJJ Williams, on YouTube, Casa D18 Studios. When I can, I do For the Love of Wrestling. I only do it if I can give attention to all the brands. Excuse me.
You're fine,
if
brother.
I'm only able to do WWE, then I don't do it for the week because I don't want it to seem like I'm being biased. Right now, my job's been having me work Wednesdays and Thursdays, so that eliminates AEW and Impact, which is why I haven't been doing it.
Yeah, respect.
I want to try and be fair and unbiased to the companies. I've been doing Renegades reviews as of lately. There have been reviews of new and new-ish Christmas movies that have been dropping on my channel. Had 3 go up this past week, 3 more going to come up next week, all the way through Christmas Day. And then there'll be about a week break before the official relaunch of the channel with all the new content coming. So make sure you guys check that stuff out. Noah, you've been busy yourself. You had an ATW impromptu prior to Full Gear.
I did.
Then you had the Continental Classic announcement watch along with Keen and Eric. What have you got going on? Do you have an impromptu coming up this week with all the wrestling we're going to be covering this weekend?
It depends on what the fan decides. Otherwise, I try and stick to tradition when it comes to the tournament announcements and the pay-per-views. But you never know what me and the ATW crew might do. For we are ATW and we look at all things wrestling. But if you wish to follow and engage with that and follow me, then please feel free to. Primarily on the Twitter and on YouTube. And then Foster 1916 for all things wrestling. Primarily, again, as JJ says, I do major review impromptus. Everything else is a shared production here. Occurs in Simple Labo Studios. Go ahead and say the line.
Well, that's the wrong graphic. The only reliable SRS in professional wrestling.
It's not in the overlay, so someone needs to fix that. So someone botched that. But yeah, you guys can find me at Foster 1916. I keep you updated with prediction leads, provide your own simple assessments for all the shows that we cover, and so much more. And of course, speaking of predictions and city predicting, we are reaching the tail end of the year to find out who the winners of 2024 will be across WPLE, TNA, AEW, Ring of Honor, and NXT. The next time we'll be back here with city predicting, of course, it will be NXT Deadline, the final event in the NXT PL League. Good luck to you, because that's your brand. Damn it. And of course, this marks the second to last event of the TNA Predictions League. And this Saturday, War Games officially marks the end of the WWE PLE Predictions League. So good luck to everybody. The forum's already out there on all the social medias and across the City Predicting Stream comment sections too. Ring of Honor, of course, wraps up a Ring of Honor Final Battle for the ROH Predictions League, a simple 3-show league. But again, honor is real, and I always will be a lifelong fan of Ring of Honor. And of course, the AEW Predictions League ends the year's end at World's End. So stay tuned for more on that. And again, I stepped away from the simple takes, but I mean, if you want to try and do something, just give me that time, because again, West Coast versus East Coast, I negotiate. Plus, my schedule is about to change up again to mornings. Thank Christ. So I should have more free time in evenings. I'm not going to go WrestleMoss crazy like Nisa Sale. Please follow her. Great contributor to the business. Respect if you want to, folks. And again, Jada talked about the weekend. There's still so much more coming up. All those shows I just talked about, I have watch-alongs. And then Jeff and Jada are going to try and kill me, because I'll be covering pretty much every Japanese professional wrestling show the first week of the new year. Pro Wrestling Noah, Marigold, Stardom, Wrestle Kingdom, and Wrestle Dynasty, along with AEW Fight for the Fallen. And that's after we do AEW Winners Coming and possibly 23rd Street Dynamite, depending on the card. And again, that's just some of the stuff that I do across the City Reliable Studios, in and out of the City Predictings, that I love to host and moderate. I think I'm also going to be with Bossman Riff of No DQ this Sunday for the No DQ Awards, I think, nominees show, where we'll announce the nominees for this year's No DQ Awards. And that'll be Sunday night. So stay tuned for more of that, and stay tuned to No DQ. Keep you up to date with live play coverage of Survivor Series War Games. But again, that's all I got to say for now. I'll do my main thing after our watch on tonight. But again, I do this to remind you, encourage you, there are no winners, no losers, no betters. Just fans on opinions, pass you all share. At the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality too, treasure your families, just stay alive and enjoy professional wrestling. It's truly as simple as that. But with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in to this simple edition of City Predicting. It was simple, and it was fun to do it with the Renegade. So again, please like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend, get your predictions in, make them final. And I hope you all enjoyed. Hit the bell, hit the subscribe button, so our channels can keep growing. We're going to keep giving you our passion as long as we can. It's not going to be anytime soon. The love and support that you give us is the reason that we continue to do so in about all forms of entertainment. So in British game show fashion, for the Renegade Wrestling, JJ Williams, say goodbye.
Bye, guys. Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys. And we'll see you later on Night for Turning Point. But until then, make a positive impact in life and have a good night. Tonight should be a very interesting show. And I think we're going to learn quickly what John Layfield is planning to do as well. Have a good night, folks. Oh, good grief. I swear, John Layfield, Dex Joe Hendry again, you are going to get a rant out this freaking world from me that no good freaking. Never mind. Not ranting. Not renting for free. I'm not renting for free. I'm not renting for free. I will not rant. I am making a resolution now to not rant for the rest of the year. I mean it. I'm not going to do it.
I seriously doubt that, Noah. Tomorrow's karaoke.
I'm going to be the singing. I'm going to be the frog from Warner Brothers that doesn't sing at all. Trust me. Trust me. I'm not a snake. You can trust me. All right. I'm hitting the button. I'm hitting the button. Dang it. Come on. Stop already. We're live. Stop it.